This beauty here is basically 6 years old. It was released in 2019. That's the iPhone 11 Pro Max. I'm going to be doing a review today about this phone, which basically is still running great. I don't know how Apple does it, but they always do it. They always make their phones, and their phones last a long time. So basically, this is running iOS 26, which is the latest official release from Apple, with all the features and everything. I mean, almost all the features, not everything, but you know, is updated. So, what other phone was released in 2019? The S10. Which Android version is the S10 running right now? Android 12, and that's it. You can't get anything else. Sure, you can get there. You can change ROMs and everything, and get an unofficial release of Android. But I'm talking about official. You can't. You're not running Android 16 on the S10 officially from Samsung and getting security updates. You're not. And it's still, even then, it's not running great. But this is from 2019, fully updated, and it still feels like a flagship phone, even in 2025. I'm sorry, but Samsung, Google, or whoever are never going to be able to do this as well as Apple does, unless something major changes. I don't know. So as you can see, I love the design of this phone. It looks more premium than the 17 Pro Max. Let's be honest. This is stainless steel, okay? It feels premium. You hold it, you know you're holding something expensive. Even 6 years later, it still feels good, you know, in the hand. Especially because this has a slightly smaller size compared to the 17 Pro Max, even though this is a Max model, which in my opinion is much better than the huge phones they're making now with almost 7 inches, okay? We don't need that much. That's what she said. The screen, as you can see, is a really nice Full HD OLED screen, okay? Sure, it's 60 Hertz, but let's be honest, even the iPhone 16 was 60 Hertz, you know, only now the 17 changed to 120 Hertz. So the screen feels very familiar, actually, okay? And the brightness is not too bad, actually, you know? Even using during daytime, it's not too bad. Of course, if you go to the full sun, you know, on a really hot day, sure, then the screen will be a bit dim. But in general, it's a really good screen, a really good OLED screen. You know, really nice, as you can see, really nice deep blacks, you know, nice colors and stuff like that. No complaints at all. It doesn't feel like a phone that has 6 years old. The screen feels from 2025, like for iPhones. The sound, I think, is one of the major complaints that I have. It sounds a bit teeny, even though it's a stereo sound and everything else. But I think the issue is probably because of the age of this phone. So I think the sound quality degrades with time. So maybe the speaker needs a bit of cleaning and stuff like that. So in general, the screen is amazing. The sound is okay. The processor is one of the best things about this phone because it has around 900,000 points on Antutu, which is basically the same score, a bit higher actually than the A56 from Samsung. So you guys can have an idea. So it's still pretty good. Let's talk about the cameras. As you can see, we have a really nice, I think it's one of the best things about this phone after the processor is the cameras, because the main camera is 12 megapixels. We have a zoom camera as well, optical zoom 2x, okay, f2.0, and we have ultra wide as well. It was the first iPhone with an ultra wide, and it was the first iPhone with night mode. As you can see, you can take some amazing photos at night, especially with the main and telephoto cameras, not with the ultra wide, because there's no night mode for the ultra wide camera, which was one of those weird things that Apple does sometimes. I don't know why. Was the only camera with no night mode, the ultra wide. But everything else, like the main camera was actually amazing. Look at this portrait photo I took. Like, it looks really good. So it has a really nice quality, the main camera and the telephoto. The selfie camera is actually the first camera with the 12 megapixels and 4K recording, which was really impressive for the time. But it's not the best at night because of the sensor size, but it's still good. But I think the best cameras there, but it's still okay. But I think the best thing about this phone was probably the main and telephoto cameras, which still hold up a lot, really, really well in 2025. Like, if you compare the photos with the newer phones, I bet, especially during daytime, some people won't be able to notice the difference between an 11 Pro Max and 17 Pro Max with the main camera. I'm telling you, right now. One thing that I like about older iPhones is that the HDR, it just looks more natural, you know? Like the Smart HDR, the first one on the iPhone XS and then on the 11 Pro Max, they look really good, as you can see, really natural, without the over sharpening that Apple introduced later, you know, which I don't really like. I don't know what happened, honestly. But I really like the HDR, it looks really nice. Even 2025, as you can see. You can take some really nice portrait mode photos of your pets, something that you can't do with the iPhone 16e. You know, so I don't know why Apple still does this in 2025. Hello. This is the telephoto camera. It's a really nice portrait mode photo. As you can see, the telephoto camera is really good because it's actually f2. So it has a really nice aperture and a really nice quality. And because of that, if you take the the camera on the 70 Pro Max, it has a f2.8 aperture, so it has a smaller aperture actually. So it let less light come in. Sure, it's a much bigger sensor and more megapixels, whatever. But still, the telephoto camera still holds up really well in the 11 Pro Max and the main camera as well, which has actually the same sensor size as the iPhone 16e. Do you believe that? It's the same sensor size. The only thing that changed the 16e is the aperture is slightly better and it has more megapixels. Even if you look at this photo, it's using a 5x digital zoom. It's still pretty good. I mean, even compared to modern smartphones. So I think the cameras here in general, they're very solid, even 2025. The only issue is the ultra-wide camera at night. As you can see, it looks awful because there's no night mode, okay? You can use third-party apps, but they're not as good. But that's it. If you don't use the ultra-wide camera too much at night, you won't have any issues. Look at this photo that I took in a portrait mode in low light. It looks great. I actually compared my S24 Plus with the cameras on the 11 Pro Max, and sometimes the photos on the 11 Pro Max were better. And that's a phone that was released years earlier than the S24 Plus, and I'm not even joking. So I can post a comparison later if you guys want. So the cameras are amazing for the price and for the time of the release of the phone, as long as you don't use the ultra-wide camera at night too much. During the day, it's fine, okay? It doesn't have the best detail, but it's serviceable, And look at this portrait mode photo. This is with an 11 Pro Max, okay? A phone from 2019. So if you know what you're doing, you can get great results from this phone. You can even take raw photos, if you use Lightroom app. So there are ways, to get the most of the camera. And it records in 4K up to 60 frames per second and all that, So you don't need anything else. So let's resume this, okay? The processor is still very good, even 2025, okay? It holds up well. The screen is one of the best things out there on this phone. Still amazing, sharp, loads of contrast, OLED, whatever. The cameras, they're very good. The only downside, I would say, is the stereo sound. The sound is not that great, but I think it degrades with time, as I told you before. And the battery is not as good as it was before. When this phone was released, the battery was one of the best batteries ever on an iPhone, okay? Nowadays, it's not that good because it's degraded, but if you put a new battery, the battery is actually comparable to an iPhone 16, So you'll be really happy. So in general, I don't think you're missing too much on this phone. Oh yeah, you have wireless charging. So I think this does all the basics of a premium phone, even 2025 from Apple. You don't need the latest and the greatest, okay? You don't need, the new design from the 17 Pro Max just to show your friends. You don't. If this phone is doing its job, why do you need to replace it? You know what I mean? Keep your phone, keep another year. Maybe when the 18 Pro Max comes with a slightly better design, it's more optimized cameras and whatever. But now, you don't need to upgrade, at least not yet. Unless you have 64 gigs, then upgrade.